Imagine stepping out onto your porch, sweat drying from a hard workout, only to face two cops who reek of cheap costumes and hidden agendas. Badges gleaming too new, boots screaming surplus store bargain. But here's the kicker. They're not here for you. They're pawns in your HOA tyrant's petty power play, one that spirals into a web of lies, slashed tires, and a midnight raid. By the end, the queen bee's throne crumbles, and peace, it smells sweeter when earned through sweet, ironic justice. I never thought retirement would smell like this, cut grass mixed with the faint tang of neighborhood nosiness. For 6 months in Whispering Pines, a cookie-cutter suburb in Virginia where every lawn was mowed to military precision, I'd been inhaling that illusion of calm. Me, Alex Harlan, ex-Army intelligence, the guy whispers called, that quiet vet with the shady past. Rumors flew, drug dealer, paranoid recluse, you name it. I let them simmer, kept my head down, ran my dawn miles, and fixed up my modest ranch house without a word. But that day, as I wiped sweat from my brow, the air shifted. 2 men in blue uniforms stood on my stoop, one lanky with a hand twitching near his holster like a bad Western actor, the other squat and clutching a clipboard like it was his lifeline. Mr. Harlan, the short one stammered, voice cracking like a kid in a school play. We've got a report of unusual activity. Loud noises, suspicious comings and goings. I eyed their getup, the fabric a tad too polyester shiny, belts sagging like they'd come from a Halloween bin. And those shoes? Not beat-up cop clompers, but glossy knockoffs begging for a discount tag. Yeah, Peace had just gotten a whiff of bullshit. I leaned against the door frame, letting the damp spot on my t-shirt cool in the breeze. Unusual activity. Huh? Like my pull-up bar in the backyard? Or maybe the way I recycle on Tuesdays? The tall one smirked, but his eyes darted next door to Mr. Elias Thorne's place, a tidy bungalow where the old guy rarely emerged, like a hermit crab in khakis. Thorne was the neighborhood ghost, polite waves from afar, but rumors pegged him as eccentric, code for, we don't trust what we can't control. I knew the real puppet master here, Brenda Klein, HOA president extraordinaire. She ruled Whispering Pines like her personal fiefdom, armed with bylaws thicker than a phone book and a smile that could curdle milk. For the good of the community, she'd coo at meetings, fining folks for flower beds an inch too wild or cars parked a hair off-center. Me? I'd been her thorn since day one. My grass hit 3.1 inches once, earning a neon violation notice slapped on my door like a scarlet letter. But this, fake cops, that was Brenda leveling up her petty tyranny. Look, the tall one growled, puffing his chest in that overcompensating way bullies do when they're bluffing. Just tone it down. Folks here value peace and quiet. I nodded slowly, pulling out my phone like I was checking the time, but really hitting record. Peace. Sure. Names and badges for my records? You know, in case I need to thank the department. Their faces froze. Shorty's knuckles went whiter on that clipboard. Tall guy's jaw ticked like a bomb. That's not necessary, Shorty muttered, fumbling a name that sounded straight out of a bad spy novel. They bolted to their sedan, which screamed rental with its bare trunk. No antennas, no grit. As they peeled away, I smelled it, not just lies, but desperation. And through my peripheral, I caught Thorne's curtain twitch. He was watching, scared shitless. This wasn't about my noisy workouts. I was the smokescreen. Inside, I bolted the door, Not out of fear, but habit from years spotting setups in sand-swept hellholes. My mind kicked into gear, the old analyst mode firing up. I replayed the video thrice, first for the obvious fakes, second for their tells, the fidgeting, the glances, and third, that curtain flick. Thorne wasn't just nosy, he was terrified. Whispering Pine's facade cracked wider. Brenda Klein, with her weekly newsletters preaching harmony through compliance, had painted me as the villain to distract from. What? I dialed my old contact, Lena Vargas, ex-colleague now in private security. Alex? Thought you were fishing these days. Fish are biting funny. Lena. Sending a vid and plate. Run it quiet. She chuckled dryly. Still stirring pots. Huh? Stay low. I hung up, knowing low wasn't an option. The rumors about me? Brenda's handiwork. No doubt. Spreading whispers at block parties to isolate the troublemaker. But isolation breeds observation. I'd seen her game. The way she'd politely harass the elderly widow down the street for her unsightly bird feeders, or fine the young couple for a basketball hoop that disrupted aesthetics. All while her own yard gleamed like a magazine spread, hiding God knows what. By afternoon, I was in motion. Dug out my old kit bag, cameras the size of quarters, relics from surveillance ops. One nestled in that godawful HOA welcome gnome on my lawn, angled at Brenda's McMansion across the way. Another in the maple tree, bird's eye on Thorne's door. Third, my perimeter. Feeds streamed to my laptop, painting suburbia in pixels. Mailman rolled by, kids splashed in sprinklers, normalcy's mask. Then, anomaly. A white van labeled Quick Fix Electric pulled into Brenda's drive. Two burly guys in coveralls hauled a toolbox inside. Emerging 25 minutes later. Same box. No sweat. Electricians don't chat that long without working. Over at Thorne's, the guy was a shadow, door cracked for mail, hand snatching like it'd burn in sunlight. Prisoner vibe. Big time. Brenda paced her office, phone glued to her ear, nails digging into the case. He saw through it, she hissed to the calm voice on the line. Just a vet. I thought harmless. Laughter echoed, cold as ice. Harmless? Alex Harlan, Army Intel vet with a classified file thicker than your ego. You turned a grass-height beef into a spotlight on our op because you can't stand a loose end. Sweat beaded on her forehead. I can fix it. More pressure, fines. Rumors. No, the voice snapped. You keep the hood quiet. Provide cover. Asset grab in 48. If Harlan meddles, team's on it. And you? Accountable. Click. Brenda slammed the phone, her community guardian mask cracking. She lived for control. HOA votes rigged with sweet talk. Neighbors cowed by veiled threats. But Harlan? He didn't bend, and that gnawed at her like a bad manicure. Next dawn, I laced sneakers, stretched in the drive. Air crisp, almost fooled me into normal. Then, my SUV, tires shredded like confetti, deep cuts screaming pro job. Not kids, not random. Message, back off. I smirked inwardly, intimidation 101, but they'd picked the wrong vet. Anger simmered, cold and useful. Phone rang, Lena. Plates ghost, Shell Corp. Vanished months ago. One guy's ex-Marine. Dishonorable discharge. Now Merc for hire. This ain't HOA games. Alex. Chatter's hot. Black market auction. AI weapon tech stolen by lead dev gone rogue. Puzzle clicked. Dev's name. Hesitation. Stay out. Call locals. Name. Lena. Sigh. Codename. Sparrow. Hiding in plain sight. My eyes locked on Thorn's Elias Thorn. Sparrow thin. Evasive. Undercurrent. Tidal wave now. Official channels? Bogged in red tape. Thorn spook if I barged in. Universe delivered. His door creaked. Him shuffling out with a watering can for sad petunias. He spotted my tires. Eyes bugging behind specks. Hesitated. Then crossed. Vandals. Whisper soft. I met his gaze. Or visitors from yesterday, the cops who weren't. Saw you peeking. He flinched. Water sloshing. No idea. Bull. You're hiding. They're hunting. Let's talk. He glanced at Brenda's. Trembling. Inside. Quick. Over lukewarm coffee. Thorn spilled. Ex-lead on AI drone project. Bolted with code to keep it from warmongers. Hid here. But leaks led hunters. Brenda, their local fixer, using HOA as cover for logistics, targeting me to distract. She's obsessed with order, he muttered. Thinks she's saving the neighborhood from elements like you. I nodded. Elements like a guy who mows on schedule but skips her potlucks. Dark humor flickered. Brenda's community events were mandatory guilt fests. Her speeches on unity, laced with jabs at nonconformers. We planned. Fortify his place. Dummy data on him. Real hidden. Why help? He asked. Because her order is chaos in pearls. Tension coiled that day. HOA email blasted. Reminder. Vehicle maintenance standards. Unsightly flats violate aesthetics. Correct promptly. Brenda's dig. Mawkish as ever. I replied publicly, working on it. Any tips on slash-proof tires? Radio silence. But her porch light flickered, watching. Evening brought landscapers to her yard. More mercs, pruning with side eyes at us. Thorn rigged lights via timer. Power cut? They'll blind themselves. I grinned. Scientist with traps. Poetic. Brenda's board meeting that night? Farce. Neighbors nodded as she ranted. Certain residents flout rules. Inviting disorder. Pointed glare at my empty seat. For harmony, we must enforce. Hypocrisy thick. She'd waived her own fence height for security, but fined others for birdbaths. A mousy neighbor piped, but Alex's tires vandalism? Brenda waved it off. Likely self-inflicted for attention. Sad. Really. Laughter rippled inside me later, reviewing feeds. Her facade? Crumbling under fear of losing grip. I called Lena. Hit tonight. Perimeter only, clean up after. Crazy. Alex. Feds inbound. But slow. My way. We prepped Thorn's house. Furniture funnels. Door wedges. Blinds slit for peeks. Mirrors down, no reflections betraying. Kitchen became lab, Thorn's wiring wizardry. They'll rue cutting power, he quipped. Soldering. Bond formed. Unlikely duo against suburbia's underbelly. Outside, dusk fell. Brenda's lights burned late, pacing silhouette. Midnight ticked. We hunkered in dim living room, map between us. Bathroom if breach, I whispered. Dummy USB on him. Real, under floorboard. Sat phone ready. Darkness hit at 2 a.m. click. Hum died. Showtime. Thumps echoed backdoor test. Front lock pick. I melted to shadows. Door whispered open. Two shadows slunk in, NVGs glowing faintly. Pros, but my turf. Right one stepped into funnel, bam. I tripped him silent. Nerves strike out. Partner world. Eft. Suppressed shot into couch. I vaulted. Disarmed. Elbow drop. Two down. Seconds flat. Floods blazed. Thorns trap. Curses outside. Blinded Bravo team staggering. I flanked yardside. Sleeper on one. Kick knife disarm on leader. Groans. Done. For zip tied. Thorn emerged. Over. Yeah. Called Lena. Gifts wrapped. Feds swarmed quiet. Mercs cuffed. Brenda's house lit. Her frog marched in cuffs. Shooting venom eyes my way. No remorse. Just shattered queen. Debrief. Espionage ring busted. Thorn safe in witness protection. Thanks, he said, gripping hand. Use that brain right. Weeks on. Normalcy crept. Tires fixed. Brenda's for sale sign mocking her lawn. Rumors shifted me as hero. Peace smelled real now, earned. Skills weren't curse. Tool for justice. But tell me, in a world where HOA queens wield rules like weapons, is the real villain the enforcer, or the system that lets them? Right or wrong, who's the true disruptor here?